Ukuba kuya ngami bengiyothi wonke umuntu omnyama kadlula sibone ukuthi ufaka phi iyeke lento emfihlo fihlelana uma ngivotela into engiyithandayo kodwa ke umthetho wabo usasho njalo uyabona mase sisoshintsha ngisho umthetho okuvota.
A video just surfaced on the internet where Zuma does as he is told by the white people while in a fundraising campaign, and people are calling him a sellout.
And maybe you can perform something for the cameras, Mr. President. Like, you are well known for a lot of songs and a lot of dance, but it is a request, Mr. President, if you are happy to, I will hand the microphone back to you.
Well, in my own thoughts, I just think that Jacob Zuma is in this for power. Now, before you judge my opinion, at least let me explain. First of all, we all know Zuma from when he was still a member and the president of the ANC in South Africa. Now, do you remember what happened when he was still in power? Let me remind you. Jacob Zuma is the same guy who used 8 million rands of taxpayers' money to build his homestead and never paid it back after he was ordered to. The same guy who allowed the Gupta family to secure government tenders and influence ministerial appointments and got away with it. And the same guy who was accused of rape and also got away with it. I mean, I can write a book about Jacob Zuma scandals. We all know that the white people are the ones funding him, and that alone can just mean a lot.
Most of these political parties are funded and controlled by white monopoly capital and global forces. And that means you can have, in the 21st century, white supremacy needs a bit of melanin. So they're using these house Negroes, if you like, to perpetuate their project. Why would, for instance, white capital give a black man, Ramaphosa, 1 billion rand to buy an ANC conference? They need the black face to perpetuate their economic domination over the black majority. So you have a captured political leadership in the African continent, by and large. The one weapon we have to transform South Africa is our numerical strength as black people. But this is being completely decimated, fractured by this multiplicity of mushrooming parties sponsored by our enemy.
What bothers me the most is that this is now the same guy who is running for presidency with a different political party. And people seem to be okay with it. He wasn't even supposed to be able to stand in parliament with all the pending cases that he has. Apart from that, a lot of people in power has warned us about Jacob Zuma and told us that he might be doing this for his own benefit. Not to forget, Zuma is funded by white people, whether politically or privately. Zuma is known for being able to make things happen when he's in power, and we've all seen that, but he does that for his own benefits and not the country's. This is what Thuli Madonsela said about him.
For me, it sounds bizarre as somebody who was in the ANC and knowing that MK is not owned by any person. Just from an ethics point of view, I'm shocked by President Zuma. I'm also shocked by the decision of the IEC to decide that if a court of law decided that your sentence is 15 months, by remission of sentence, the president has now overruled a court of law and your sentence is shorter. That is shocking to me because then it violates the principle of separation of powers. And it reminds me of a time under apartheid when Parliament created a higher court of Parliament to overrule the Supreme Court of South Africa. For us as South Africans, we should not forget that he is a person who has refused to obey the Constitution. We should not forget that he is a person who sold the country to the Guptas and repurposed many of our state entities to do the work and enrich his family and the family of the Guptas. The people of South Africa should not forget that, because if he does come back into power, he will do just that. He will finish that job.
Not to forget, Zuma is also a convicted criminal who's done nothing but fled from the law, and when caught, he appeals for a much lesser sentence. He never faces the consequences of his action. Is this the same guy you want as your president?
Zuma is the eternal opportunist and MK. So they are going to capitalize. They are, in fact, capitalizing on all of this. Zuma, depending who you are and who you listen to, is probably the single most popular politician. He has no equal in South Africa. So he's a powerful marketing tool for the MK party, and they will get a lot of votes because of that. But if it is discovered that he should have been somehow disqualified, even people who could not beat him fair and square in the election will then use that to try and discredit the election and the IEC and so on and so forth. So to me, it's beneficial to Zuma, but Zuma is going to say these things are being fueled by his enemies who don't want to see him prosper politically. But you will discover eventually that Zuma doesn't even want to become a member of parliament, but he does want a lot of votes to go to the MK party so that he can negotiate certain benefits for himself.
This is the same guy who announced on camera and in public that black people should only vote for black parties. If they do otherwise, they'll face the consequences. Check this out.
Uma umnyama ungavotanga nabamnyama uyofunga kulanga bokuthatha abadala bakuhambise bakushonzele shendampa asidlali kule game ukuba kuya ngami bengiyothi wonke umuntu omnyama akadlulela sibone ukuthi ufaka phi iyeke lento emfihlo fihlelani uma ngivotela umuntu into engiyithandayo kodwa ke umthetho wabo usasho njalo uyabona mase soshintsha kusho umthetho okuvota kuyomiwa la obala umuntu avote simboni uvota la uvote la ufihlani yini beyimfihlo bayenza imfihlo njengoba bafuna ukusirobha sawushintsha nalo mthetho ngoba thina singabantu aba-honest sifuna iqiniso nje ngesabani ukuvotela usibanibani weqembu elithile ngoba ngivotela yena vele ngifihlelani ubugebengu hey sizoyishintsha le mthetho.
I bet you if DA had said the same thing, people would be calling them racist by now. But when it's done by Zuma, there's no problem. No lie, Zuma has brought MK an influence that threatens ANC.
Is the ANC panicking about the formation of MK?
We've been through this journey before, like I told you. Went through the formation of COPE, which was very formidable in my take. EFF, not really formidable. MK, not really formidable in my take. We will survive this one.
Of course, they wouldn't admit it. ANC then decided to take it to court and try to destroy MK before they regret it. Here's why. Umkhonto Wesizwe used to be an army of the ANC before even becoming a party. Therefore, after it had been registered as a political party, ANC tried to trademark strike them for their name and the logo they used. But guess what? They failed. Check this out.
Over the moon, I'm happy that the ANC has been shown that they can't fight the MK. We are unstoppable. Whether they like it or not, they must just forget it. We have won with cost, which is what we've been looking for even before. It didn't happen, but this time we got it, and they must pay.
The truth is that Jacob Zuma has an advantage in these elections, and it is important that people know him for who he is before putting their trust in him. The problem here is that Zuma has let us down multiple times, and I just wonder what his next moves would be if he regains that kind of power. My name is Jay, and this is Moment in Future, pulling you into the truth.